Hello. Can you please introduce yourself?
So, hi, I'm Kai. I'm 22, turning 23. I'm Singaporean, born and raised, and I am studying international relations with Leiden University's The Hague campus.
What was it like growing up in Singapore?
It was an interesting experience, mixed experience, because like one of the first questions that people here ask me about Singapore is it really true that you get arrested or fined for chewing gum there? And I have to say like no, but if you have like enough gum that shows you have the intention to distribute, then yeah, you will get fined. So like it's interesting. To me, it's a very quirky and unique island. It was also like a constraining place because I'm a gay man, and Singapore is a place that criminalizes gay sex. It's a symbolic law because there's never been used to prosecute like anyone before, but it's a law that has like repercussions. There's repercussions like being told by police if you have been sexually assaulted that we're not gonna pursue it as a favor to you, the victim. It also has repercussions like having a very rigid school system. And as someone who grew up with depression, it wasn't easy to go through that and to constantly be faced with questions like, why do you want to go? Why are you not going to class? You are being such a shameful child to your parents, which doesn't help. Like telling someone who's depressed that they should be ashamed really doesn't help. So I went through like this very odd and interesting time where I dropped out of school for 2 years and like mostly self-study. Like I read from my own books, I got a few tutors, and then took the exam before I eventually went back to high school. And that was very much like stepping outside of this neat railroad that I feel most Singaporeans' lives are like, where there's a huge level of rigid expectation that makes it so that you are supposed to only follow one right way, and if you ever step off the railroad, you're doing something wrong. And that's just what makes Singapore such a mixed experience for me. It's a quirky little island, but there are so many rules.
What were you doing before you came to The Hague?
So before I came to The Hague, I was in the army because Singapore has conscription where all men have to serve for 2 years, and that wasn't fun, but it was an experience. And before that, I was studying journalism and filmmaking. I worked for half a year as a journalist with Yahoo. I know that Yahoo has like a bad rap, like yeah, yes, the inferior Google, but like in Singapore, it's like one of the largest like independent press that exists, and like that process of learning how to create something, like how to tell a story, how to make a documentary, it was immensely fun. And like, but one of the things that I always felt was very, very constraining is that like for everything that you wrote, you always had to keep in mind like the huge amount of censorship and regulation that exists. Like anytime that we as students in my school in Singapore tried to create a piece that was at all like critical to government, whether it was a parody piece, whether it's satirical, we would be given a lot of criticism by teachers about how this would never publish, this would never work. You cannot make money with this in Singapore.
Why did you decide to come to the Netherlands?
So a lot of it comes from feeling this huge desire to leave home. I know my mom feels like she cursed me by picking my name for me without understanding its meaning, and only realizing like years later that my name, Kai Xiang, means to fly away. And I've always felt like this desire to wander, to leave, like my little sheltered island, and like see what the rest of the world is like. I remember the thing that made me realize I love traveling so much was this school trip to Seoul in South Korea. It was this 3-week experience called the Asian Debate Institute, where debaters from all over Asia got together, and it was so liberating to be traveling not with family but for like my own individual purpose, but also so enthralling to be meeting all these people from different cultures, to be seeing like this world beyond Singapore, and to realize that, hey, I really want to explore it. So that's a huge reason for why I'm in the Netherlands as well, because the Netherlands is interesting and welcoming.
What do you think about the Netherlands?
I think that the Netherlands is an interesting place because of its, for one thing, it is very different from Singapore in its openness. People are so much more direct here.
Very blunt.
Yeah. But also, like, that openness is something that I really cherish, because I recall that in Singapore, like, as a survivor of sexual assault, it was not easy to talk about my experience or to get assistance for my experience, because of the fact that because gay sex is criminalized in Singapore. I would be given this explanation that, hey, we the police are doing you a favor by not pursuing this case further, and it never sat well with me. But here, the huge difference I feel is that the institutions are different. It is.
You're an Asian man in the Netherlands. Did you face any discrimination here?
Well, it is odd because in Singapore, being Chinese meant that you are the majority. Like you are like privileged because you are in the majority. And coming here made me realize like what kind of privilege that was. One way that relates to me is like being a gay man with needs means that you often use like social dating apps like Tinder or Grindr. But so often you run into people here who are saying things like, hey, no Asians or no Middle Easterns or things like that, which is, well, it's revolting. But the other like reverse side of it is when people are fetishizing you for being Asian. And I feel like the aspects, the Asianness that they fetishize are things that I don't have, like hairlessness, for example. Sometimes people will ask me, when are you gonna shave?
No.
I mean, I'm fine if a friend asks me that, but not, yeah, you get what I mean.
Would you ever go back to Singapore?
Yeah, I think so. Because I don't think we can change where we're from, right? But we can decide where we want to be. And Singapore will always be where I'm from, and my family's there, and I still have great love for the country. But the issue for me is that like I don't feel like it's where I want to settle down in. I don't feel like it's where I want to raise my family. And I know it's like very long-sighted to be already thinking like, oh, like where do I want to raise my kids and all, but like that's very much the first question I'm thinking of when I'm like, do I want to settle down there? Yeah. Mm.
Well, thank you so much for the interview.
No worries.